Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I am your president, Wilda Alessi. Apparently need to work my bell ringing skills. Doug is a hard man to please. As you know, we start off our meetings by reciting the four-way test, so please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will be beneficial to all concerned. Rotarians use the four-way test to guide our actions and words. The Rotary Club of York is committed to celebrating diversity and uniqueness of all people, treating everyone with courtesy, dignity, and respect, and we expect the same from everyone that we encounter. Embracing diversity and promoting equity is essential for the betterment of our club, our community, and the world. Today, our opening song, America the Beautiful and the Pledge, will be led by Jack Dyson, followed by the invocation by Eric Chase, and visitor introductions by Victoria Connor.
Please join me. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you prepare yourself in a way that you are accustomed to prayer? God, our Creator, you tell us to stand up in the presence of the aged and show respect for the elders and to revere your God. And you tell us that I am Lord. We ask that you bless this meeting of Rotarians today and the food that we have taken and used to nourish our bodies, the hands that have prepared it in service, served it to us. We ask you to bless our speaker who will tell us about the exciting changes and how community and helping the elderly to find community in these times is of a great essence and need, and that by taking care of our elders, that we revere you as our God. And we ask this all in the many names that we call you, and we say amen.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I am pleased to have the honor of introducing our guest for today's meeting. Guests, when I call your name, please stand if you are able and remain standing until President Wilda has welcomed you. Our first group are guests of youth leadership: Ruby Hartman, Ariana Spock, Chanel Jones, Yasmili Sanye-Varola. Thank you. And guests of Natalie Gunderson, Kathy Bollinger, and Michelle Mummert. Guests of Bob Borden, Chris Ballantyne, Alex Henry, Margie Seegers. Our speaker, Michelle Leader. Guests of past President Jody Keller, Brian Kohler, and past President Di Hershey. Guests of Thomas Caltagirone, I should got that one, Francisco Loaiza Tovar, and guests of Shonsky and Lisa Worley, guests of Jan Wagner, Amy Young, and guests of Larry Richardson, Mike Smith.
On behalf of our Rotary Club, I extend a heartfelt welcome to all of our visitors today. It's always a pleasure to have new faces joining us, whether you're here for the first time or returning. Rotary is all about connecting, serving, and making a positive impact in our community and beyond, and we're excited to have you here with us today. Rotarians, please help me welcome our visitors. And now for some announcements. As you may be aware, I was in Calgary for the Rotary International Convention the last week of June, where the weather was much more pleasant than it is here, along with 16,000 other Rotarians. It was refreshing to spend time with like-minded individuals working to make their communities and the world a better place through service. The General Assemblies in the mornings provided inspiration for Rotary's mission to eradicate polio, peace building, fighting human trafficking, and eradicating cervical cancer, while the breakout sessions were a great opportunity to meet and learn from other Rotarians. The convention also confirmed that our club is doing all the right things to increase member engagement and grow our club. And finally, Rotary isn't all about service. I stumbled across Fun Rotary with fellowships for gin, beer, wine, whiskey, skiing, flying, and so much more, but not skydiving. It was also fun to see the familiar faces of Fran and Ben in the sea of Rotarians, as well as members from our district. It was a great experience, and I highly recommend visiting Calgary and the surrounding areas and check out the Rotary Fellowships, because honestly, I had no idea there were I was like, what is going on here? So it was a fun time. Rotarians can have fun too. So in the spirit of Calgary, we're going to do a little Yahoo. So I'm going to count it down, and Ben and Fran are going to help me here, and all of you as well. So 3, 2, 1, Yahoo! They're also wearing their Calgary headgear, which was easy to spot Rotarians in Calgary. It was certainly a fun time. So on for our other announcements. All committee chairs and vice chairs and board liaisons will meet this afternoon at 1:30 in the terrace room, and the Rotary Board of Directors will meet on July 10th at 8 o'clock on Zoom. And a fun announcement, we're heading to the York Fair for our July 23rd meeting. Enjoy a lunch of fair favorites, followed by a program from Rotarian Patrick Ball on the history of the York Fair, a glimpse of what's happening at this year's fair, and a look to future plans. Your attendance includes admission to the fair after the meeting, so book out your calendar for the whole afternoon. Also, there's an optional guided walking tour of the fair that will be available at 10 o'clock prior to our club meeting. Guests are welcome. Rotarians and guests must register in advance to attend, and that registration deadline is July 16th. You'll find a paper on your tables with a QR code to register, and also a registration link in tomorrow's announcer. Please note this meeting will not be broadcast on Zoom and will not be recorded for future viewing on YouTube. Have some fair fun. We do not want any documentation of that. And now I invite past President Courtney, who's enjoying her new title, to the podium for a strategic plan update.
I'm back. All right, so fun things with strategic planning. So since rolling out our club's 3-year strategic plan 11 months ago, I have been giving you all updates on how it's been going. And in addition to giving you updates, our board meets monthly and reviews the strategic plan, and board members are held accountable to work with committee chairs to ensure that we stay on track. Because the last thing that we want to do is have this most beautiful strategic plan before us and not be referencing it on a daily basis to ensure that we're doing all of the good work that we said we were going to do. So in efforts of being transparent and making sure all of membership knows what's going on, I would like to share another update of how the past few months have been going in terms of our club's strategic initiatives. The last update I gave you was back in April, so anything I'm sharing with you will cover what we have done since then. So to refresh your memory, we have 4 key strategic initiatives: create an engaged and diverse membership, increase our service impact, increase awareness and understanding of our organization, and align governance and resources to support club priorities. So here's what we've been doing to create an engaged and diverse membership. Our membership engagement committee has planned a bunch of new fellowship events for the rest of this year. Some of the events that I'm excited about is a trip to a Penn State game. Wilda, you might be excited. We're having a bourbon tasting coming up, so more information to come on that. They also looked at what we do now to engage with members and how we can make this better. Additionally, they're prepping our annual membership satisfaction survey so that we can hear from everybody in the room on what is working for you and what is not. And in the next quarter, they'll be focusing on developing strategies to help prioritize members' first-year experience within our club. Our membership recruitment committee has been hard at work and has added 49 new members in the past year. They work to create new ways to offer incentives and bringing new members to our club. And the next quarter, they will be working to identify action steps that they will take to increase diversity of our club's membership. And in terms of increasing our service impact, our Global Impact Project Committee continues to monitor the progress being made in building toilet bottle houses in Sandafa, Ethiopia. 2 members from our club, actually Aaron Jacobs and Andy Siebold, are actually in Sandafa right now and will report back to our club later this month. Oh, wait a second. My timing must be off. When do you go? Is it soon? Oh, okay. So just pretend I'm making this announcement next week. Aaron Jacobs and Andy Siebold are both, yes, okay. And I did say hi to Aaron earlier today, mom brain. Ugh, I lost my president touch. All right, moving on. Our Service Project Development Committee continues to accept suggestions on ideas for a future big service impact project. This committee was created last year to help identify service projects to help our clubs maximize its service impact while being aligned with the club's strategic plan. We know for sure that the next project will be youth and city oriented, and we need everybody's help to brainstorm and help us identify what that project could look like. So if you have an idea in your head, please share that with us. If you could share that with Kelly. Kelly, wave your hand in the front here. She is chair of the Service Project Committee. We would love to hear those ideas. Our PPE committee is spearheading a project later this year to replace trees along Market Street in downtown York. Our youth committee has made huge progress, making connections with the right people at the school district of the city of York. This has been an area in the past that our club struggled to have a good connection with. And with our strategic plan being youth and York City oriented, it was a huge win for our club to make such a great recent connection. Our 5 youth committees are student education, youth exchange, youth leadership, youth enrichment, and youth literacy. They all worked together to identify the needs of the City of York schools and are working through a game plan with the district on how we can live out our mission to improve life in the City of York. So more to come on that. This effort was led by Youth Exchange Committee, who reprioritized their efforts to seek opportunities for York City students to participate in our Youth Exchange program. And in the next quarter, our Youth Literacy Committee is planning a big effort called Rotary Reads. This will be held in September and will involve providing 700 children in early learning child care centers in York City with a book and involve Rotarians as classroom readers to celebrate reading. So stay tuned for more information, as this will be a great project on how you can get involved. Under increased awareness and understanding of our organization, our communications committee has been hard at work behind the scenes, working with a major upgrade that was made to our club software, Club Runner. This has taken hours and hours of work. For example, they had to recreate instructions on how we do everything inside the site. I'm sure you noticed the announcer looks a little bit different. They had to rebuild that template completely. Additionally, they continue to invite new members to our members only Facebook group, which helps increase our membership engagement. So if you've not yet joined the Facebook group, I would encourage you to whip out your phone so you can find it by typing in Rotary Club of York Downtown Group. They are also collaborating with the Membership Recruitment Committee on a LinkedIn campaign to attract potential new members. And in the next quarter, they will focus on helping spread the word about the work of our club to the community. And lastly, align governance and resources to support club priorities. Our Fundraising Projects Committee is out of the gate early this year with the goal to raise a record amount of money through September's Love for Community event, while also seeking greater participation from our membership. The new YERF Fund Development Committee has taken steps to regularly educate our members on donor opportunities to support the York Rotary Foundation. And in the next quarter, they will roll out a new recognition program to acknowledge those who donate to our foundation. So, what is next? All committees are working through their committee action plan, the document that lays out all the good work that they are going to accomplish and measure through the end of this year. One of our challenges as a club and on the committee level is the need to look further into the future and work ahead. And that's what strategic planning is all about. So reviewing this plan is something I would encourage everyone to be referencing during every committee meeting. I'm incredibly proud of the progress happening within our committees and the meaningful impact that we are making together as a club. It's energizing to see our actions reflect what it truly means to be people of action. And I hope that this update will have given you a helpful glimpse into what we've been doing to move forward with our club strategic plan. And if you ever want to revisit the strategic plan, just head to our club website and click on our mission, and it will take you right there. Thank you.
Thank you, past President Courtney, and thank you to all of our committees for their hard work over the past year. We've certainly made a lot of progress on our plan and will continue and looking to continue that work over the next 12 months. So at this time, I'd like to invite Matthew Hoffman to the podium on behalf of youth leadership.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. I have a distinct privilege and honor to introduce this year's RILA participants, where this Rotary Club sponsored these students to go to Messiah College and get to experience a lot of different college experience to some extent, where they stayed in dorm type facilities and they had a lot of opportunities to interact with other peers around the district. And they had activities that grew their leadership and communication skills. And they're here to present their week-long presence there at Messiah. So without further ado, I'll let them introduce their names, and then they'll share some slides and some photos.
Hello, I'm Ariana Smock. I go to York Catholic High School. I am aspiring to go to the University of Pittsburgh for a major in architecture.
Hello, my name is Chanel Jones. I go to York Academy, and I aspire to hopefully go to George Washington University and major in pre-law.
Hi, I'm Ruby Hartman. I go to York Catholic too. I also would like to go to Pittsburgh University or Carlow to major in nursing. And I have to shout out Lynn. I was part of the Distinguished Young Woman scholarship this year, and it was really great. And it was part of the reason I wanted to do this too. So.
Hello, my name is Yasmili, and I go to William Penn Senior High, and I would like to major in mathematics and then minor in biology. And then my college is still undecided. But I do have a list. It depends on the programs they have. My favorite part of RILA was the team building exercises. So one of the most important ones I thought were the most prominent was the starfish exercises, and we had a guest speaker named Dennis, and if you can see him right there, he's the one with kind of balls. Yep. And his shirt has a starfish at the back. Oh, right. And then next exercise with the human hula hoop chain. And the purpose of this exercise was to teach us. Oh, I think I skipped something. Yeah. Oh yeah. He told the story about. It's like a simple tale about a young person walking on the beach covered in stranded starfish. They picked the young boy picked one starfish at a time, and then he just threw it back in the ocean. And then there was an old man, and he said, "What's the point of that?" And then the young boy said, every little action makes a difference. So, and then that led me to think maybe the purpose of the story was to show that even the small actions matter, and then it's okay if we can't help everyone. And this is what we learn: how to work together, communicate, move effectively while maintaining the handhold, and problem-solving strategy and patience, because we were timed. And then you know how some people are that they want to be first. These two. So on the one on the left was the blindfolded obstacle course, and the one on the right says spaghetti tower challenge. The spaghetti tower challenge got me stressing because with that one we were also timed, and then we had to make a structure that was both effective but also original. And then what we learned from these exercises was nonverbal communication, active listening, trust and vulnerability, critical thinking, and planning.
So one of the things I really enjoyed about Rilo was the music program. Although it was really small this year, we still came out strong with our performances. So I was only in the choir. There was also a band in choir. The bands played the Star Spangled Banner, while the choir did a song called Summertime by the Jamies, which I've never heard of. But the song was like a really upbeat tune, and it was supposed to like represent how in summertime how we have like students lack responsibilities because they can finally have free time to enjoy things that they want to do and just overall enjoy how summer is. What I learned is that team building comes in many forms. I don't think people realize that music is huge on team building because each part plays a really important aspect to making the whole piece like come together and sound all right. Um, it's also showing having confidence and ability in yourself because you have to listen to your parts while also trying to match the tones and the rhythms of the other parts. So I think the music program really just showed how your confidence, you need to trust in your ability to listen to others and your ability to work together.
Okay, learning the components of leadership. This was a major part of Ryla. Pretty much the main part of Ryla was getting to learn to work with other people. Thank you. These were two of my favorite team building activities that we did. Closer to me is the blind building. So in one room we had a wooden structure, and in the next room was my team. And we elected one person to be the runner, which ended up being me. And you would have to run between the two rooms and describe the structure you were seeing in the other room to your teammates so that you could effectively build it in about 5 minutes. And it may seem easy, but this was very hard. And we all realized how hard it is to explain something to people who don't understand what you have seen. It explains that little like that wall that's between explaining something. And it was eye-opening to a lot of us. And then we also had a seminar talking about it afterwards about that little part of communication that people forget is that the person you're communicating to doesn't always know what you know. And then further away was the Model UN activity, where we were separated into countries for the whole week of Ryla, and each country elected a person to talk on the spot about some social issue. They were really prevalent, and some of them were pretty hard conversations. And they had to go up and talk about it. And then all of us together in the auditorium decided on who gave the best presentation. And that was a really good lesson on speaking on the spot and talking in a way that even if you didn't know what you were talking about, you still sounded okay. The next part was learning what is true leadership. We learned that leadership is listening to those you're working with, being willing to compromise, being open-minded to new ideas and strategies, and promoting equality within a team. We learned through exercises that leadership was not, sorry, I can't totally. Leadership was not being the loudest person in the room. Leadership was not being the loudest person in the room, believing that one's own personal opinion is the only suitable solution, doubting new ideas from others without giving it real consideration just because it's not your idea, and putting oneself before others on their team. And then we're going to talk about the seminars.
So the majority of the 5 days that we were there, we had seminars throughout the day. We would have like 2 a day at least, sometimes more. And to me, my rally experience, I think that the seminars were the most impactful part to me because most of the speakers had such like a crazy story that really just like touched my heart and made me feel like that like I don't know, I was seen and heard and stuff like that. So one of our speakers was Heather, and she talked about her experience as a child and how hard upbringing she had and how that affected her like self-love and how it really just affected her mental health and stuff like that and how she built up her life from there. So she taught us some of the tools that she used to like bring herself up and make her like feel ready for the day and stuff like that. One of those being the I am statements. She made all of us, every single participant, go in front of everyone and say 3 I am statements about yourself. And she said that you couldn't say things like kind or like very like vague words. You had to say something very like it was you and you had to believe it and like know it. And that was very like even like to this day, like from then I like to do my I am statements when I'm having like a bad day. Another thing is the high fives in the hallways of our dorms. There was like these high five cutouts on the wall. And every morning I'd wake up and I'd high five all of them and feel like, feel that little rush of joy and stuff. Another thing that I thought was really like impactful for me was the positive attitude. She talked about how important it was to surround yourself with people that have a positive attitude, to wake up and just because it's like a Monday and like it could be hard this week, like telling yourself that this is an opportunity to do better and make an impact in somebody else's life. Another of our speakers was Dennis, and Yaz talked about him a little bit with the starfish. But I think that Dennis told us that again, like really just pulled on my heartstrings was that everybody wants to be loved. Like no matter what, like everybody wants to feel human connection and feel that sort of like you're wanted and everything. And I thought like he was telling us like in school you always know that there's like the cliques and like there's like the football guys or like the cheerleaders or whatever, and there's always like those kids that are alone and they're like the weird kids or whatever. And he was saying that like to be like the starfish story and everything like that, like you can pick one of those people and they can be your starfish and like you can save them and you can help them and talk to them and make them feel more included, and how important that is in leadership, that if you see somebody that is like struggling or they're not being listened to, like you have the position to point them out and be like, what do you have to say? Like, what is your take on that, And I think that that's very like powerful. And sorry, I also can't see. And the last thing is just be the difference you want to see. Like if you want to be in a loving environment, if you want to be somewhere that you feel like you can speak on your ideas and stuff like that, like you have to be that difference. You have to make everyone feel seen and listened to. So yeah, that was my impact from Ryla. Thank you.
Okay, we have a few more slides of the behind the scenes of Ryla, which all of that was very important and very fun. And we all took so much away from it, but we also took a lot away from how much fun we had this week and how many amazing friendships we've made. For example, all of us, we didn't know each other before. Well, I knew Ariana, but other than that, we didn't know each other. And now we've become friends and all found out that we live in pretty much the same neighborhood, which we never would have known before. So first was field days. I think we had 2 of these, and this was definitely a fan favorite from everybody involved. We got to play kickball and volleyball, and Messiah has a beautiful campus, so we got to walk across the street if any of you guys have been there and go to the open fields. They had chickens, which you can see in that video or picture. I didn't get to see the chickens, but I heard a lot about the chickens. And yeah, the behind the scenes of that was really fun for everybody. The next was the Ryla dance. We got to have almost like a homecoming dance towards the end of the week, and I know that everybody had a lot of fun during this. And a lot of people talked to people that they hadn't talked to the whole week at the dance. I don't know what exactly it was, but I think everyone was just a tiny bit tired of seminars and very social. So we all had a lot of fun. There was this one boy who I had never met, and he was the most insane dancer I've ever seen. And afterwards, I asked him if he had ever danced before, and he said no, he just didn't know what came over him. So everyone had a lot of fun that night. I think you can see him. He might be the one on the shoulders in that far pic over there. And then just more about Messiah's campus. It really gave us a good experience of going to college and where we all wanted to go if we wanted a more suburban campus or to be more urban. They had a beautiful creek, and the campus kitty, he was a big favorite. That's me and Ariana with him one morning. And yeah, the campus was just a really good perk of the whole week, and it really gave us all a good college experience. That's our whole thing. Lastly, we just want to thank all of you so much for this incredible experience. I know we all had fun. Do you guys want to say it?
On 3. Yeah, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you to the students for sharing about your Rotary experiences. It's great to hear that you're learning good leadership characteristics at such a young age. And now I'd like to invite past President Josh George to help us induct some new members.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. In the interest of time, I will dispense with any jokes since I'm not funny anyway. First, today, see, I'm almost like Jody Keller, right? So straight to the heart of the matter, new members today to introduce. I would like to start with Carly Legg Wood. She is obviously the one in the middle. Carly is a graduate of Kent Island High School and went on to St. Mary's College of Maryland, where she earned her Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and also her Master of Arts in Elementary Education. She is the Executive Director for the Center for Community Engagement at York College of Pennsylvania. Her community service includes serving as a PTA member of her children's school, and her hobbies include gardening, baking, reading, and raising her kids. She is married to David. They are the parents of Nora, who is 6, and Everett, who is 3. And she is proposed for membership by past President Glenn Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, Carly Legg Wood. Next, we have Leo Lopez. Leo, if you could smile and wave. Leo is a graduate of William Penn High School and serves as a sales executive at Highmark Health. His community service includes serving as a recruit and retain leadership chair for Salud, which is part of the Highmark Business Resource Group. His hobbies include softball, basketball, and he is an artist who likes to draw with graphite and coal. He is the parent of Mariah, who is 19, and he is proposed for membership by Pavle Badoviniak. Ladies and gentlemen, Leo Lopez. And last but not least, Jose Serrano. Jose, if you would smile and wave as well. Jose is a graduate of Penn State, where he earned his Bachelor of Science in Biology. He went on to earn his medical doctor's degree from Ponce Health Sciences University, and then a Master of Science in Healthcare Administration and Management from Cornell. He is employed by UPMC, where he serves as a physician and medical director for Hanover and Memorial Hospital emergency rooms. So quite a busy schedule for him, as you can imagine. He also served 7 years in the U.S. Army, earning the rank of major. His community service includes serving as a board chair for York Community Resource Center at Tech Centro. He's a board member of the American Heart Association of Central PA and also a board member for Stop Violence. His hobbies include travel, running, reading, and art. And he is married to Arlene. They are the parents of Joey, who is 11, Sebastian, who is 9, and Emma, who is 3. And he is proposed for membership by Gina Spangler. Ladies and gentlemen, Jose Serrano.
Right, new members, welcome to our club. We're thrilled to have you join us. Here you're going to find a community dedicated to making positive impact both locally and globally. Your unique talents and perspectives will be invaluable as we work together on meaningful projects and initiatives. And together we'll build lasting friendships and create a better future for all. We highly encourage you to get involved in one of the many committees that we have here. So welcome aboard. And at this time, I'd like to invite Bob Borden to the podium to introduce our speaker for today.
Good afternoon. I'm pleased to introduce Helen Foster. Helen is the Chief Marketing Officer of Willow Valley Community and the owner and principal of Foster Strategies based in New Orleans. Helen has over 30 years experience in real estate with a specialty in developing 55+ communities. She has worked with Willow Valley since 1996, helping to shape its evolution as a national leader in senior living. Currently, she oversees sales and marketing while also providing leadership and planning for the organization's expansion into downtown Lancaster. Helen's support of Willow Valley has fully revitalized Lancaster's historic southern market,
reinventing it into a modern food hall and community hub while restoring its prominence as a city landmark. Helen also provides guidance and strategic planning for the Mosaic, an exciting 55-plus residential community that's coming soon to downtown Lancaster, of which you'll hear more about in this presentation. Helen previously served as Vice President of the Board of Willow Valley, and she now holds the title of Member Emeritus. She is the former chair of the Urban Land Institute's Life Residential Development Council. That's a mouthful. She overseeing the 55-plus community developments. She has worked with more than 100 communities across the United States and is recognized as one of the top thinkers and influencers in age-qualified developments. Helen's longstanding partnership with Willow Valley has greatly contributed to its success. Rotarians, please give a warm Rotary welcome to Helen Foster.
Okay, so you're going to hear some accent here, so I'm going to apologize in advance. So I live in New Orleans, but for anybody who knows Louisiana, my accent is a Shreveport, Louisiana accent, which is where I hail from originally. So I have a number of slides that I'm going to cut through relatively quickly. I hear y'all are a Q&A, kind of a bunch. And so I want to make sure that I have time for questions at the end. And I do have the clicker right here. And so we'll go ahead and get underway. I'm very happy to be here with you all today. I've actually heard some very wonderful things about the York Rotary, and I am amazed and just in awe of the fact that y'all gather every Wednesday like this and have so many participants, and I know that y'all do really great things for the community. So a little bit about me. I came into this industry in 1995. And, you know, I was very intrigued by the aging of the baby boomers. And so there were a lot of people talking about real estate. And so I came into the industry, started working on real estate accounts. And one of the things that I started to hear was that baby boomers were never going to choose to go to 55-plus communities. And that was right after the time that I decided to start working in 55-plus development. So I was a little bit nervous about that, but I decided that was an opportunity and not a challenge that couldn't be overcome. So I've spent the last 30 years working in this industry space, and it's been amazing. And so, you know, the chairing of the council, you got a lot of exposure in the industry to things that were working and frankly, things that weren't. And so I started to draw some parallels between successful organizations and the ones that were less successful. And certainly at the top of the successful list, Willow Valley Communities was already there. So started working with them, 1996, also worked with David Weekly Homes. They're headquartered in Houston. They develop all over the United States. And my work does go all over the US. And I also work for Rancho Mission Viejo, which is in South Orange County, California. Worked with them for 21 years now in helping them launch their active adult brand. So I wanted to say, you know, when you think about an industry, any industry, you see again kind of different approaches. Senior housing is one of those industries where a lot of people created communities and they did it looking in the rearview mirror. So they would do things like feasibility studies, and feasibility studies would tell you if an existing model that had been implemented somewhere else might actually be successful in your market too. And so there was a lot of reliance on feasibility studies that I think fueled that notion that baby boomers wouldn't choose retirement communities later on. So there are a number of industry developers who might look at feasibility studies and use them as some directional information, but they're also willing to step out on the edge and try things that haven't been tried before. And so in my work and the clients I work with, we talk about that as being an approach to ageless living. And so what that says there is pretty much what our approach is. And it is fundamentally that we can't rely on existing industry paradigms. We can't rely on feasibility studies. We have to pay attention to the consumer first and do right by the consumer. And so there are a lot of implications of that in development. And one is we can never rest because it changes all the time. And I think no matter what industry you're in, you're seeing that too. And so there's a lot of research that must occur. a lot of benchmarking, a lot of studying best practices, and that certainly happens in our space. And so John Swanson, who's one of the co-founders of Willow Valley Communities, called me one day, and this is while we were working on succession planning, which could be another presentation, by the way, that I'd be happy to participate in. But he called one day and he said, Helen, he said, where does vision come from? Which I thought was an amazing question. And in your businesses, you probably have worked with people who were visionary. You see them. You wish it's something you could take and bottle and teach. And it's very hard to do that, as you know, again, kind of in your own businesses too. And so when John asked me that question, my other great mentor in my career, it's John Swanson and Paul Johnson. And my son calls them the sons because I would talk about them both all the time. But when I posed the question to Paul Johnson, with whom I worked in California, I said, Paul, what would your answer be to that? And he said, he said, being visionary requires that you have 1 foot in the known and 1 foot in the unknown, and you have to be comfortable being in that space. And so I kind of posed that as a challenge to everyone, especially you, the young team here, thinking about that. And so when you lean into that uncertain territory, it actually creates a lot of opportunity. And I would say it also creates a lot of opportunity for the people you have a chance to impact too. So what does the future hold? This is the least gloomy or the most gloomy slide in my presentation deck. We know that America is aging, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time showing you data because the data is out there. So America is aging rapidly, and many of us in the industry, talk about all the time how America is not prepared. And so there was a study that Genworth did, and they said that every day until 2030, 10,000 baby boomers will turn 65, and that 7 out of 10 people will require long-term care in their lifetime. But at the same time, and I know, through our own family experiences, friends and neighbors too, that we are all in a little bit of denial about that. It's like that's going to be somebody else's problem, or that's a problem I'll address at some point later. And we're all guilty of it. I am too. I actually will age qualify this year, which I guess I'm excited about. But it's just something for us all to consider. So there's a huge sea of opportunities or possibilities in 55 plus housing. I have worked in every one of these product types. And so, there's the idea of living in a traditional neighborhood for a long time, right? Staying in your home. My grandparents did this, absolutely refused to consider anything. They wound up with 7 years of in-home care, 24/7, which requires its own management too. Then there are active adult neighborhoods. Actually, when the recession hit, my business shifted to building active adult communities, built them all over the country. They are resort oriented to a degree, very focused on real estate quality, which has been awesome in a lot of ways, but they don't provide for care provisions. There's no care. Sometimes people can receive care in their homes, but it's like living in a traditional neighborhood that happens to carry an age restriction. So then there are continuing care retirement communities, or they call them CCRCs in the industry. CCRCs, it's 2,000 plus of them in the United States. There was a USA Today article that you might have read yesterday that talked about CCRCs. Not all of them are successful. Many of them are. Most of them are. Then there's life care type A or type C. And all this gets really confusing, doesn't it? It's already confusing. So anyway, type A communities, Willow Valley Communities is a type A community, and we'll get into that in just a second. And then there's type C, which is fee for service, a little bit different. Then there's life care at home. Willow Valley has one of these that actually does operate in York, where you can basically have the benefits of living in a life care community, but live in the house you're living in, wherever that is within the counties that it services. And then there's also direct entry into assisted living or nursing care, which many people wind up doing because they didn't really think that it would happen to them. That was going to happen to somebody else, not me. And that's a challenging thing because when there is that desire to wait, sometimes it does limit options on the back end. So how many of y'all have been to Willow Valley, just for show of hands? So, okay, so a lot of you have been to Willow Valley, so you might recognize this. Willow Valley was founded 40 years ago, and it was founded on the notion that most communities, and I would even throw active adult communities into this too, most communities assume that your desire to have social engagement or your desire to have a care provision would be so profound that you would give up things like great dining quality or quality real estate in order to attain the benefits that a community might provide. So come around the 80s, especially when the active adult industry really hit its stride, developers were coming in and actually building beautiful houses. And then you had communities like Willow Valley that also were delivering amazing dining experiences too. So the founding philosophy of Willow Valley Communities really was, what if you could take away all the reasons why someone would object to a community this type, and you would address those, so deliver hospitality at a very good standard, but then also provide the benefits of the community. So in so doing, Willow Valley has become very unique. When I started working with Willow Valley in 1995, I saw that, 96, I saw that. And I decided that I had to work with them for a long time. And now here I am 30 years later. So, Willow Valley is the leading destination community of its type. There are 2,600 residents from 42 documented states, I think probably even more than that, in multiple countries as well. And so when people come to Willow Valley, they're coming because they're looking for something very particular. They want something at a great standard. They don't want to have to step down in their lifestyle or their foodie desires or anything else. And so they're getting that continuity, and they can't find it in the states where they currently reside or where their children reside. And we hear many, many times that people come to Willow Valley without any prior connection to the community. They're coming because it accommodates what they're looking for. So it's always been expanding. It's on 210 acres in Willow Street right now, but we're expanding, as you'll see in just a second too. Lots of amenities. It's in a way built like a city. So you have many different residential styles interspersed with amenities, some of them destination grade amenities that are scattered throughout the campus. This being a very intergenerationally oriented clubhouse that is on the north side of those 210 acres. And over all of this time, and I think this is a really important point, Willow Valley has been able to expand, again, without reference to feasibility studies, has been able to expand and grow very substantially over that 40-year period of time, substantially but conservatively, and in that process maintain a Fitch A rating for the longest time that any other like community in the United States has been able to achieve. So currently, there are over 100 floor plans at Willow Valley. We actually believe that diversity of product helps us expand market capture. So some people come in and they want a one-bedroom apartment. They're going to keep that, and they're going to keep a house at the beach. Some of them come in and they want 4,000 square foot floor plan, and we can accommodate that too in some cases. So we do have attached properties or residences that would be in multifamily buildings that have amenities within the buildings. There are also apartment towers that are standalone. There also are townhomes and villas, which are also very, very much in high demand out there. And I want to make a point too on that. When John Swanson was introducing what's called Willow Gables at Willow Valley, it's one of the neighborhoods, I remember distinctly, because they were a client of mine, being there with John when somebody in the industry said to him that he thought that was doomed to fail. And I can't tell you how many times he heard that in his career. And he got to a point where he would get excited when somebody said something was doomed to fail, because he felt like that probably meant it was going to work fantastically. And that has fortunately been the experience so far. So if you hear that, don't worry about it. Just make sure you're on point. So, all right. So the reasons people choose CCRCs, you probably know this. There is the benefit of social connections, all the activities that they provide, thoughtfully built residences, restaurant-like dining, access to supportive living and care if needed, and more peace of mind, not just for residents, but also for their families as well. So this is what all CCRCs purport to offer. Some of them do it differently than others. So Life Care Type A is a little bit different. Life Care Type A, which Willow Valley is, does require an entrance fee, which basically funds care if needed for the lifetime of the resident or residents. And then there's also an ongoing monthly service fee. The monthly service fees are akin to what you would pay in non-mortgage expenses on a home of like size for the most part. So pretty much what you might expect. And there is no real estate transaction. The benefit of that is there's also no taxes too. So life care in a life care type A community means that you have access to short-term or long-term care anytime it's needed, wherever it might be needed. So that is personal care, which is akin to assisted living, memory care or skilled nursing care. And the unique aspect of life care type A that I just wanted to make sure everybody understood, because it's very confusing when you're looking at all these different options, is in a life care type A community, your monthly fee basically stays the same. So you may move into a level of care where you are using 3 meals a day or taking 3 meals a day that might not be part of the other program or independent living. So there may be some incremental costs that are different, but it's not substantially so. And the benefit of that is it allows for financial predictability and preservation in a lot of cases. So that is a key benefit of that. And I did want to point out, so if you go into a life care type C community, which is a different one, or if you wait and you wind up needing to go what we say is direct entry into assisted living or memory care, then you pay prevailing market rates for that level of care. So one could go to Willow Valley and go straight into assisted living or memory care, but then the prevailing market rates apply. So all communities have different rates. I don't think we're the highest. I don't think we're the lowest. I advocate for any community, not just Willow Valley, but just to give you an idea, when you look at kind of what the statistics are for people needing care or not, the average length of stay in assisted living for those who need it is 22 months. So 60% of people who enter assisted will go into skilled nursing care. And once in a nursing home, half will stay for at least a year, while 21% will live there almost 5 years. And so if you were to do direct entry into Willow Valley, you see the math over there on the right side, where 5 years in skilled nursing care alone would amount to over $1 million. And the important thing just to know about this is that's a per person rate. So many of the folks that we have coming into Willow Valley and other communities too might be couples. So that would be ×2 if there were 2 in the family that required that level of care. So you don't know. It may happen. It may not happen. That's one of the questions we get asked. It's like, oh, well, what if I pay the entrance fee at Willow Valley and I never need the care? It's like, well, great. And anyway, so that's everyone's hope. So the average stay in a nursing home is 485 days. And you see the price of that at $281,000 per person. So aside from the math, there are many other reasons to consider community living. The Housing for Older Persons Act, which enables the age restriction, was created or allowed because of the social benefits on aging, right? So the social benefits are outstanding. There's also just the fact that you have provided for any potential need for care in the future. So that's already squared away. So that means that you and your kids can live it up and travel and do all of what you want to do with continuity and without worry about what might happen someday down the road. And so many of our residents tell us, and I'm looking at Margie when I'm saying this, many of our residents tell us that they wrap up their contracts after they have decided to move to Willow Valley. They wrap them up with a ribbon and give them to their kids. And now that people have heard that's happened, it's happening more and more. So in addition to the 210 acres that we already developed, we were running out of land in Lancaster. So Willow Street is where the existing campuses are, the suburban campuses, as we call them now. So it is 2 campuses separated by about mile, give or take. And so John called one day, and of course, working all over the country and working on different product types. He said, "Do you think we should consider downtown?" And so we started to explore the possibility of getting downtown, because it was a way for us to appeal to people who would prefer to have a more urban lifestyle. So we worked with Gensler, the architecture firm, to have them come in and help us interpret how an apartment building of appropriate scale for us to be able to pull it off might exist in downtown. So we started that process a number of years ago and have been refining and scrubbing and refining and scrubbing and refining and scrubbing until finally now it is available. So we have 49 apartments reserved. Margie, I'm waiting for the extra 2 today. We got 2 in one day last week, so it's pretty cool. But anyway, and I have to say, Bob Borden can be your neighbor here at Mosaic. So Bob is among a few other residents who live on the suburban campuses of Willow Valley who have chosen to transition to Mosaic once it's open, because he, like others, would just prefer that style of living. So one of the things too that I'll say about Mosaic is when Mosaic is complete, it will represent only 8.24% of Willow Valley Communities' total independent living portfolio. So it seems like a large-scale product, but it's relatively small in the grand scheme of things. But it's an option that many of our residents simply prefer. You'll see just south of the Mosaic building here, and I'm going to point to it. You'll probably recognize Southern Market right there. So when we were touring the site for Mosaic years ago, John and I walked through it. It's the former L&P Press building where the site is. It's cleared now, if you have not had a chance to see it recently. So we toured the site, and the realtors that we were with said, "Hey, do you want to go look at Southern Market," which is, again, just right across the street from the site where we were. And we're like, "Sure, why not?" So we went over there and we're just amazed by that building. And we worked to incorporate it in our planning, collaborated with the city in doing that, and turned it into Southern Market, as you have heard about. I'm based in New Orleans, very much a foodie town. Turns out the best food hall developer operator in the United States is also headquartered in New Orleans. So we got that done there. So just a few images of Mosaic. So it's all active adult on the Mosaic campus. And just a couple of images there. So again, working on financing for that at this time. There's an interior. And Southern Market, as you've heard about. And then there is, we have a few people here who are interested in what's included in the monthly fees or what the fees are. We're certainly happy to have that conversation with you, but I wasn't going to go into detail on that today. And lastly, I did want to talk about just the residents that we have. They're pragmatic planners. They're people who show up with spreadsheets in many cases. Sometimes they have toured all over the United States. We were just ranked by Newsweek as the #2 in the United States. The #1 is a former client of mine in Santa Barbara, if you're interested in that. But 50% of them are from outside of Pennsylvania. And that is holding now as we're moving into Mosaic. And so the average age at entry is 75, but again, trending lower, 68.9 for Mosaic depositors. So the last slide I'll share is just that we have Smart Life. Again, already alluded to that earlier, but Smart Life is an option for those who want to stay at home, and it's certainly an option that is available right now in York County. And so that's it. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for sharing your time and your expertise with us today. Your insight into the 55 plus housing market is very informative and also eye-opening. And we were talking earlier before the meeting started. I'm not wishing my life away, but I kind of can't wait till I can live in a 55 plus community and have everything right there. It'd be like living downtown, but better because my social life could be all planned out. So definitely not what we thought of, I think, even for me growing up, what is available to us. But your national perspective paired with your hands-on experience has given us a well-rounded view of both opportunities and challenges ahead. And congratulations to you and Willow Valley Communities on the incredible recognition from Newsweek. And again, thank you for sharing your knowledge today. And again, I look forward to the day when I can live in one of those communities. So as you all know, our speaker has signed the book plate for a book to be donated to the York Academy Regional Charter School in York City, which is May Among the Stars, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. Our speaker next week will be Heather Strunk, head of school for the Janus School, the only school dedicated to the education of students with learning differences in South Central Pennsylvania. Located in Mount Joy, they serve students in grades K to 12 diagnosed with a learning disability, ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, executive function difficulties, nonverbal learning disorders, or auditory processing disorders. And I'm sure Helen will stay after if you have any questions for her. We didn't have time for that today. But with that, I will say this meeting is adjourned.